Hi everyone, and I just want to welcome you to the very first Q&A video series that I am doing all around body acceptance, concepts from health at every size, and stepping away from diet culture. So when we're doing this, it can be really hard, and it's not easy, especially given the state of our current culture, which is really focused on certain body ideals and getting even more obsessed with different, diets and food and exercise, when a lot of us have come to a point and realized that it's actually so unhealthy to be so obsessed with that, and then they want to move away from it. So many questions come up of how do you navigate now this world when you're kind of on the outside of what everybody else is doing. So I've been getting quite a few, direct messages from people just looking for advice and feedback, and I thought, there's probably a lot of other people who have similar questions, so why not start a video series and just answer some of those questions, and then hopefully it helps. This is my advice based on my own experience and sort of what I've been reading, so just know that. And I'm learning and growing all the time too, so when I kind of come across more information, I'll share that with you. So why don't we get to our first question, which is from Kelly. And Kelly wanted to know, when somebody makes a comment of that they've lost weight and how good they look now, how does she handle that sort of feedback? What does she do with that? And that is such a huge question. And it's one that, I've even wrote about in my blog of how when somebody compliments you on your weight loss, how it's actually not really a compliment, because in essence, what they're kind of saying is how you looked before wasn't as good. And, our body is our body, and it changes. And so it can add to this constant pressure of feeling like, oh gosh, do I now just, need to lose weight in order to look good? And the answer to that is no. But we live in a culture right now that has been conditioned to believe that a certain body type and a certain way of looking is the most desirable. So the first thing that we really need to understand is that that is where people are coming from. Okay, since the day that we were born, we have been conditioned to believe that a certain body type is the most beautiful, is the most ideal, and is the most healthy. Okay, that's not actually a fact. Okay, it's not a fact that thin or toned or fit is the most beautiful. That's conditioned. Okay, because if you go to different cultures, fat people are considered beautiful. Fat women are considered beautiful and gorgeous, and if they're thin, they're not. So if it was a fact and it was universal truth, then we would see that across the board, and we don't. So we just need to understand that, since the day we were born, we have been ingesting information, images via what we see on TV, messages from our family about what constitutes attractive. Okay, it's not a fact. So just knowing and really trying to understand and have compassion that that's where most people are coming from at this point, and they've never questioned it. They've just taken it as truth. It's what they believe in that moment, but they've never questioned it. So just kind of understanding that can take a little bit of the sting out of it. It's not really personal. It's just their belief system. And now that, if you've stepped out of it, especially you, Kelly, if you've stepped out of that now, you realize that that's not the truth anymore, but you can kind of feel alone. So how do you deal with that? And the first thing is really just understanding that that's where people are coming from, and it's not personal. Another thing to realize too, and this is something that I've really noticed, is if somebody is commenting on your weight and complimenting you for it, it's a really strong indication that they're very insecure about their body, and that's what's important to them. So when I was pursuing thinness and, throughout various points during the year, I would possibly lose some more weight. I would notice that it was always usually the same people that would comment on my weight loss. And I'd known because they had shared with me how they were trying to lose weight and they wanted to lose weight. So it really says more about that person than it does about you. It says that that's something that's really important to them, and that's why they're commenting on it. So there's that. Now, the second portion to that is like, well, what do you actually do in the moment? How do you respond when people are saying, oh, you've lost weight, you look so great? It really depends on the situation, what you're comfortable with, and how well you know the person. Like, is this a close friend? Is this a family member? Is this your boss? You know, is it a colleague? Is this a person? Well, I guess it wouldn't be a stranger on the street because they wouldn't know what you look like before, but is it an acquaintance or somebody that you don't really know as well? Each different situation would kind of evoke a different reaction, right? Or different response. So I would say and it's also your comfort level. So you want to try some things out, and it's also your intent. Okay, so there's a lot of different factors here. If it's somebody somebody you feel comfortable around. Okay, maybe it's a close friend, you're used to having open, honest discussions. Be honest. You know, just respond and say, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that you probably feel like that's a compliment, and it really doesn't feel that way to me. Because what I actually internalize that is that but you didn't think I looked as good before. And I now feel a lot of pressure to keep off this weight in order to feel good enough. And I really don't feel good when my weight's commented on, if there's weight loss. Try it out. You know, this is all about, you know, so much of us are probably feeling this and we don't express it, and we're not used to having these conversations. So test it. It requires, though, being vulnerable, you know, and just, you don't have to say it accusatory, like, I don't like it when you comment on my weight because I feel like crap. You know, make it about yourself, right? Because it is about yourself. This is how I feel, and I know that you don't mean anything negative by it. It just actually doesn't have a positive response. So I'd really prefer if you actually just don't comment on my weight in the future. That would just be really helpful for me. So try that out and see what happens. You know, with somebody else, like if you, okay, here's something that I actually do want to talk about too. Often we're really afraid of being perceived a certain way by speaking our truth. So if we don't want to, you know, be perceived as quote unquote a bitch or mean, then we often won't speak our truth. So again, like, you can speak your truth without it being attacking, but a very kind of direct way of coming across is you could just say, you know, I actually really, I don't like my body being commented on, and leave it at that. I mean, you know, again, you don't have to be rude about it, but just directly speaking your truth. And however people perceive you is how they're going to perceive you. You can't control that. But that might be something you want to try too. So just kind of directness. Now, what if you don't know the person so well? Maybe you don't want to get into a whole thing about it or get into a conversation. You know, you could just say something like, you know, actually I don't weigh myself anymore. So maybe I did, I don't know. Or you could say something like, you know, weight actually isn't important to me anymore. So I don't really pay attention to it. And, you know, just kind of redirect it that way. Like, just slough it off and just be like, yeah, I don't know. Weight's not really important to me. I don't focus on it. And leave it at that. I think my feeling is that although they're trying to compliment you, if you say like, oh, thank you, again, that kind of reinforces this idea that thin is better. So, I mean, if you want to say thank you, you could say, you know, thank you for the compliment, and I really don't focus on my weight anymore. And that's another way to kind of accept the compliment, but also making it clear that you don't focus on weight. And Another aspect to it is if you want to educate people, like if that's something that you feel up to, is you could then tell them and say, you know what, I've come across, I'm really working on accepting my body for whatever it is, because it changes all the time. And I read this really amazing book called Health at Every Size, or you could say Body Respect, by Linda Bacon and Lucy Aphramore. You should check it out if you're interested. Or, I just started intuitive eating, and there's a really great book about that if you want to check it out. So, you can kind of direct them and give them resources, and that might open it up. Because again, a lot of people, this idea of just accepting their body or not pursuing weight loss is completely foreign. Okay, like it may just, it's like, well, what do you mean you don't everybody pursues weight loss? So, just by even saying like, I'm actually just working on body acceptance and I'm not pursuing weight loss anymore, here are some great resources, is another way as well. And actually somewhat lastly, I want to say that, remember, you can't change people's minds. Okay, so and you can't stop people from what they're going to say, except for, again, just kind of repeating like, thank you, and I'm not focusing on my weight anymore, or thank you, and I don't like my body being commented on, or, some of those suggestions I gave before. But you can say that and people are going to say what they're going to say. So also realize too, like, if you're triggered by that, do the work on yourself about that, because in the end it's about how you feel. So if you're triggered by it, like there's something kind of there, there's something within yourself that, you might still believe yourself that thinner is better and is more attractive, and you're kind of still working with it and wrestling with it, and that's why there's a bit of a to it. Possibly. It's one thing. It might not be the case, but it's just, I would say, work on being okay with that. Because really that's what it's about, is you don't want to feel uncomfortable when people are saying that to you. And the reality is, we're in a culture right now that is heavy into diet culture. Okay, it's not going to change dramatically anytime soon. It's baby steps, and it's slowly happening, and the more of us that keep doing this work on body acceptance and promoting the health at every size message, we're going to make a difference. But I mean, come on, like, you look anywhere on ads in movies, like like fat phobia and diet culture, we're in it hard. So it's best to just, again, use those phrases that I gave as examples, and then just work on being okay with the fact that people are probably going to say it. And it's not the end of the world, with little bit by little bit, the more we become okay with it, and exercise our voice to set our own boundaries around what we want people to say to us, the more we'll feel better about it. So that's what I've got. I think that covers all those angles that I could think of, and I hope that you found it helpful. I'd love to hear your feedback. So for all of you who are watching this, if you want to put in your comments in the bottom of wherever you are watching this video, whether it's on my YouTube channel or whether you're viewing it on my Facebook page, I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Or if you're also somebody who has suggestions and things that you've used in the past that have worked, share it. The more suggestions that we can come across, the better. So if you're someone watching this and you have a question related to body acceptance, trusting your body, health at every size that you'd like to ask, go to there's a link that I've provided with this video. It's my Q&A page on my website. So it will link to that, and you can drop in your question and I'll receive it. Likewise, if you don't have a question, but you would just like to be up to date on when I release a new video, because I'll be doing it about once a month. You can just put in your name and email address, and then you'll be put on my email list, and you will then, every time I do a video, you'll get an email letting you know that a new video is ready. And then lastly, if you haven't already yet, you can go to my website and again, just follow the link. I have a free resource. It's called the Body Acceptance Jumpstart Guide. So if you are brand new to this whole world of what the heck is body acceptance, like how can I accept my body if I'm, don't look like the ideal, then check it out and download it. And I have a ton of resources on there, and just some 5-step kind of 5 actions that you can take now to move you along that path towards body acceptance. So thank you so much for watching this video, and just keep going. I'm here for support, and there's a ton of other people here who are here in this community of body positivity, body trust, who are here for you. And I look forward to seeing you when I do the next video. Take care. Bye.